Hello and welcome to Hope for Dystonia. My name is Federico and you can call me Fede. I am the creator of Hope for Dystonia, which is today the single most comprehensive, empowering and transformative dystonia program out there. If you yourself are on a healing journey, I highly recommend that you check out the link in the description below. It will lead you to the 8 steps of the Hope for Dystonia recovery roadmap. Invaluable, life-changing information that I wish somebody had shared with me when I was in the thick of my healing journey. So I am excited about today's video because it is a topic that is a big question mark for a lot of people. It's been a big part of my own journey, and I am excited to share with you the things that I have learned from my own experience and working with clients for the last 5 years as of the filming of this video. We will be talking about the ALF Appliance and how it relates to dystonia, but not only. And this video is really important because there are a lot of misunderstandings out there and a lot of people that end up getting hurt, and it can be avoided. So one little disclaimer before we get started. We will be talking about health, we will be talking about teeth, we will be talking about the cranium, the nervous system, but we're not talking about medicine, and I am not giving you advice as to what you specifically should do with your dentist. Make your medical decisions with your medical providers, your decisions about dentistry with your dentists. Use the information in this video as a way to empower you with knowledge so that you can make better decisions, better informed decisions. And again, make those with your medical and dental professionals. All right, so what is the ALF Appliance? It is an umbrella term for a series of appliances that are slightly different from one another, but in general, they consist of a wire that gets applied behind the teeth of the upper arch on the maxilla up here. And the idea is that the ALF Appliance can help create an expansion of the upper arch. It can help the cranium breathe, right, by creating more openness and flexibility in the sutures. And it is an appliance that combines principles of dentistry with principles of osteopathy and proper development of our anatomy. And it is one of the more popular approaches to treating dystonia from a perspective that is dental and anatomical and so on. Now, sometimes the ALF is combined with another appliance, a splint, sometimes called a Gelb splint, and I will make a separate video on that topic. Today we're just talking about the ALF, and we're only going to be talking about the ALF as it is applied to that upper arch. Okay, so the premises behind the ALF Appliance are wonderful. They point to a more holistic understanding of dystonia, of the issues that we might be dealing with in our nervous system, with the temporomandibular joints, with facial pain, with facial asymmetries. They point to an understanding that what we're looking for in healing some of these conditions is proper development of the facial structure and of the cranium. And it's a perspective that is not obsessed with the geometry of the teeth as the ultimate arbiter of what is good when it comes to our occlusion. And so those are positives. And another big positive of the ALF Appliance is that it is a powerful proprioceptive input, right? So this wire that is applied behind the teeth has little loops, and those little loops mark certain spots in our mouths, and they can help the tongue figure out where the center is, where the sides are, and it can help us bring our tongue to the palate in a way that is supportive of the health of the cranium and of our orofacial myofunctional health, right? So the health of the muscles of the mouth and the face. So these are some of the positives of the ALF, and I have benefited from certainly that latter point, the fact that there is something that gives us information as to where everything is in the mouth. And that has allowed me to work on a better posture for my tongue. And I had an ALF for, I think, close to 3 years. And that was perhaps the main benefit. Now, the disadvantages or the risks of the ALF is really what I want to talk about in this video. And there are several of those. I want to focus on two of them. The first is that it is often used in a way that is different from what I consider to be the optimal way of using the ALF. It is often used as a device for expansion of the palate, whereby a dentist goes in and expands the loops of this wire and creates pressure on our upper dental arch in order to create a shape that the dentist considers to be more supportive to our health. And in order to create that expansion and that breathing in the sutures of the cranium. Now, the problem there is that we're relying on the dentist's understanding of what we need there. And it is very much my experience that often that is not the correct understanding. And even when the understanding is correct, it is very hard for a dentist to create the kind of pressure through the ALF that is only applied to the side of the mouth that needs the expansion. Okay, so if I need expansion here on my right side and the dentist manipulates the loops of the ALF in such a way that there is more pressure that is created on the right side, there's really no way to ensure that some of the pressure isn't also applied on the left side. And that is tricky, right? Because we end up with a sort of expansion that might not meet our needs. And this takes me to the second disadvantage, the second risk of the ALF appliance, which is that the ALF appliance should be first and foremost about the tongue and about how the tongue can rise up to the palate and apply forces that support this healthy expansion. Except that many people who come to a dentist for an ALF treatment do not have balanced cranial nerves. By definition, right? If you have dystonia, you have one side that is working more, one side that is working less. And when that happens in the tongue, you have one side, one branch of your 12th cranial nerve that innervates the tongue movements that is stronger, and one side that is weaker. And so what ends up happening is that you're applying more force on one side, less force on the other. And that means that you'll end up with expansion often right where you don't want it, where you don't need it. Okay? And so the ALF appliance and some of these dental approaches are the kind of thing that individuals come to when they are looking for a solution, right? For somebody to fix them, to save them. And they want something to be done to them in order to get to an improvement. And what I propose here is that if you are considering the ALF Appliance, if you are considering this type of treatment, the thing that you want to do first is to create as much symmetry in your cranial nerves as possible. You want to start with the nervous system with a deep embodied awareness of the patterns that you have in your 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and learn how to wake up your hypotonic nerves, the ones that are not performing, that are not working as you would expect them to, and learn to let go of the hypertonic ones, of the ones that are working too much. And only after that come to the work of the ALF Appliance, to myofunctional therapy, to all of these things. You need to have an awareness of your patterns so that you can opt out, right? And I'm sharing this because of trouble that I went through and trouble that several people that I've been in touch with, I've worked with, have gone through. And namely, what I'm referring to is a situation whereby there is an asymmetry in the cranial nerves, and the tongue is working more on one side than the other, and then you're taught to lift your tongue up to the palate, to the ALF, and instead of applying symmetrical pressure, you're applying asymmetrical pressure. And so you are expanding the side that perhaps was being expanded excessively already through the biomechanics of your head and neck, right? And so that's how you get to the situations where people have ALFs and they twist more and more and more with their cranium. It doesn't happen with everybody. It's not to say that there aren't easeful and successful applications of this tool, but this is 100% something that individuals with neurological imbalances, with dystonia, with TMJ issues, with facial pain, and so on, need to be informed about and need to be careful about. And so what can you do about it? Well, first of all, gain that awareness. And that is something that is really at the heart of the Hope for Dystonia method, empowering each one of us to have awareness, deep, embodied, first-person, felt sense awareness of what the 12 pairs of cranial nerves feel like when they're overactive, when they're underactive, so that we can begin to shift things around. And so I usually dedicate the first sessions with clients to this specific thing, empowering them to develop this awareness. And that is the first step in being able to work with these powerful tools from dentistry and so on in a way that is helpful and that does not, or that at least minimizes the risk of harm. So again, if you're interested in learning more about the Hope for Dystonia method, I highly recommend that you look at the link that is in the description below, the 8 steps of the Hope for Dystonia recovery roadmap. These are things that apply to you if you have dystonia, that could be helpful to you if you have dystonia, or also if you don't necessarily have dystonia, but you have TMJ issues and you have facial asymmetries and you have facial pain and you're looking to find symmetry and wholeness. The information in that roadmap can empower you to take healing into your own hands and find a sense of empowerment so that you can really move forward in a way that makes sense and helps you get your life back. Again, from a place of sovereignty rather than having to submit to somebody's ideas of what the right treatment for you should be. So again, if you're looking for empowerment, that's a very good place to start. And in the description below, you can also find a link to book a time to speak, where you can share your story. We can see how you can move forward and work on getting your life back. So I hope that this information leaves you feeling empowered, feeling that you can do this, right? That this is your body. And when you learn to be in touch with it, you can make use of the tools that exist out there in a way that is so much more powerful and so much more adapted to you, and you minimize the risks of accidents and negative outcomes. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. I invite you to like the video and subscribe and comment below. All of these things help with the algorithm, and it helps to reach more people and share this information more broadly. So stay tuned. Next week, I'll publish a video on splints and the GELB, and I think it'll be important information for lots of individuals to hear. So in the meantime, thanks again. Much love. See you next time.